Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we talk about problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with a video.
I was raised by a single mom who is a very hardworking and responsible woman, but you can't count the relationships that she's had. My parents broke up when I was about 4 years old, and my mom never made me feel like our family was incomplete. She made certain I was well raised and had everything I needed or desired. My mom is a principal in a high school and has worked there for many years. I got an amazing job and had to move to California. I had never lived without my mom, and it made me homesick whenever I would tell my mom about that. She would tell me that I was a jerk and needed to focus on my career. She has been a very driven woman and has never failed to surprise me with a new man every couple of months. Only 2 or 3 relationships lasted longer, and then my mom would eventually find a reason to dump a guy. I had no problems with that, except that sometimes it would become uncomfortable to have a strange man in my house who would probably be my mom's boyfriend. My mom never expressed, but I knew that she felt alone and craved validation, and that was the reason she would not stay single for long. As it was her life and she knew better what she was up to, I never tried to discuss the matter. I completed my master's and was looking for a suitable job, but it took me almost 6 months to find one. The salary package was way too great, and the company was also well reputed, but it was in Chicago, and I had never planned to move out from my mom's house. My mom had mocked me several times and had told me that I was the only kid of my generation who had chosen to stick with my mom even when my mom was sick of me. I had been in a couple of relationships and never preferred to move in with my boyfriends. We had a very friendly bond and would use sarcasm all the time. So my mom told me that I could not miss that opportunity and had to avail it, as adulthood was all about stepping out of my comfort zone. I agreed and started preparing to leave and moved out within a month. It had been only 6 months since I had moved to Chicago when one day Mom called me and asked me if I could go back and see her. I told her I had already visited her last month and could not ditch the office all the time just to go back and forth. I told her that I would see her in a month and she had to wait. My mom said that she could not wait as it was something important and I had to take her seriously. I told her that I would call her in the evening and then we could discuss what was going on. I called my mom and asked her what was the matter, and I was shocked to my bones when she told me that she was expecting. I told her that if it was a joke, it was a very terrible one. She said that she was very worried and could not afford to get embarrassed as she was the principal of a very reputed high school. I told her that she had to think about that before getting pregnant. She asked me what she could do, and I told her that I would tell her after thinking of something, as it was a huge tension. My mom called me an hour later and told me that she had an idea. When I asked what it was, she told me that I could tell everyone that it was my kid. I laughed and asked her how her stupid ass could even think of that, as if people would not be able to see her tummy. She told me that she could take leave after a couple of months from school and could move in with me until the delivery. I told her that she was most welcome, but I would never claim that the child was mine. She told me that she needed me the most at that time, and I replied that I'd never asked her for a sibling after all these years. She said that she was embarrassed, and I had to understand. I asked her if she was that embarrassed, then why she was thinking about keeping the kid. She told me to get lost and hung up. I know she's pissed, and that is because of her playful self. AITA? My mom called me after a few days and asked me what I had thought about the plan. I told her that I had already informed her that her plan was bullshit and least feasible, as no one was going to believe that. I told her that people were going to find out sooner or later and that would embarrass her even more. My mom said that she would handle whatever happened afterward, but I had to help her. I told her that she could move in with me till the delivery and even after that for a month or two, but I was never going to own the baby like that. My mom told me that I was insensitive and could not understand her position, as she was a principal and had to maintain a reputation. I told her that everyone knew about her relationships, as she could post everything on social media, so it was not a big deal and I could not let her make a fool out of me at any cost. My mom told me that she never expected that from me, and if I did not do what she had told me to do, She was going to disown me as she was going to be blessed with a better child. I laughed and she cursed me like hell. I told her that whatever she could do, she had to deal with it, as she was the one who was responsible. I have no issues with my mom staying with me until the delivery, and I was ready to take care of her as I loved her to death, but what my mom is expecting from me is ridiculous, and I can never do that. My mom had arrived to stay with me, and she was 5 months pregnant so far. She had managed to get approval for leave without mentioning that she was expecting. I was glad to have her with me as I was concerned for her health and could take better care of her. She was not as young and energetic as she felt, and bearing a child has never been easy. My mom would stay stressed out and would ask all the time what was she going to say to our family and how was she going to face everyone back home. I told her that if she had decided to keep the child, she had to embrace her decision and own it as a real woman would do. I made sure that she felt better and did not worry about what people were going to say. My mom's due date was near, and I got a leave for a week from my office just to stay with her, as I was very worried for her. I was going to pay her hospital bills, and I thought it was my responsibility and made sure that everything was good. My mom was blessed with a baby girl, and I was thrilled to have a baby sister. We both were so overwhelmed, and I felt like this was the best thing that had happened to us. My mom stayed 2 months more at my place and then had to leave as she had to rejoin the school. I had already become used to the little munchkin and could not stay without her. I told my mom that I would be visiting more frequently because I could not stay away from my sister for long. I assured my mom that everything was going to be okay and that she should least care about what our family or the people would say. My mom left and I was already missing them both. A week passed. And when I woke one morning, my Facebook timeline was spammed with posts congratulating me. I could not understand what was going on and started scrolling the timeline. I found a post by my mom where she had added a photo of me carrying my baby sister, saying that I had been blessed with a baby girl. Also, as I was too busy with my office, I had sent my daughter with my mom back home. I could not believe that she had done that. I called her and asked her why she did that when I had already told her that I was not going to claim that. She told me that she was sorry and had to do it because she had no guts to claim that she was her daughter. I told her that I was never going to see her and hung up. I had to clear the air as people could not leave me alone and kept on congratulating me for a week straight. I took to Facebook and announced that it was not my daughter but my sister, and my mom was not brave enough to own her. I went on and wrote that it was the societal pressure and the image that she was trying to save, no matter if she had to put everything on her daughter. I wrote that I was proud of my mom and loved my sister so much and people had to chill out. My mom called me and told me that it was very mean of me. I said that someone had to speak the truth and no one even asked her for explanation, so she did not have to post everything on Facebook. I told her that if she was not brave enough to embrace her daughters publicly, she could just keep quiet and let people find out about her themselves. And even if they would find out about her, my mom still did not owe them an explanation. NTA, not at all an a-hole, but a hero. The way you stayed by your mom's side and looked after her despite the fact that she wanted you to own her baby was applaudable. It was so great to experience the bond between you both, which was more like best friends than mom and daughter. You are a strong and brave woman who cannot care less about the people, and that is the spirit. NAH, both of the women were right in their places. OP was right that she was not obliged to own her mom's baby no matter how much effort her mom had put into raising her. She was there for her mom all the time, and that was enough. On the other hand, OP's mom was rightly worried as she was a working woman and it was difficult for her to own her baby. OP was right when she said that she did not owe an explanation.
Next story.
At the end of 2020, my mother came down to visit me for Christmas and to bring me back for winter break. I hadn't packed any clothes, just a few books and sketchbooks for my trip back with my mom, and she asked, "Aren't you bringing any clothes?" To which I replied jokingly, Why would I need clothes when I'm going back to the house with all my clothes in it? She didn't say anything, and when I turned around, she had this sort of guilty look on her face. She said I really should pack some clothes, and when I asked why, she said she didn't have my stuff anymore. Incredulously, I cried, "Did you throw all my shit away?" And she nodded. I was in absolute shock. I had only been gone for a couple of months, and in that time frame, all my possessions I left at the house were thrown away. Not packed or put away, tossed into the garbage. Stuffed animals with sentimental meaning, art I had made, clothes I had, which included some of my deceased father's clothes. Lots of little things from of my dead father, etc. You name it. It was tossed out. My aunt later confirmed this when I questioned her if she knew, and she said that she had come to the house to see my mom tossing my things into the trash. I was beyond devastated, and more so, I felt like they were trying to get rid of me, not just my stuff. Over time, I have learned to accept my stuff is gone. I won't ever get it back, but still, to this day, part of me wishes I didn't bite my tongue. Part of me wishes I told my mom everything I felt. I wanted to scream and cry and let everything out. For the most part, I don't think about it, but when I do, I can get pretty upset over it still. And yes, I am currently in therapy and am getting help. My boyfriend and I got into a little niff because I started crying over it. He said he knows it's unfair, but it's nothing to be upset and angry over still. I told him it was none of his business telling me how to feel, and when I was still acting pissy and mopey, he got angry and went on a walk. AITA for still getting upset when I think about what happened? Sorry, folks. I gave the bot the wrong explanation, so it might be confusing to you guys. Explanation for why IMBTA got into an argument with my boyfriend after bringing up a 2-year-old situation, and I'm wondering if I'm the a-hole for still being upset over it. NTA, this was a terrible betrayal of trust by your mother. You're fully within your rights to be upset over it, even now. And you're right. Your boyfriend doesn't have room to talk about this. Your mom knew you'd be back eventually. She has no excuse for disposing of your belongings. And if you hadn't decided against packing clothes, you wouldn't have found out until you got there, making it way worse. Did she even give a reason for why she did this? No. When I asked why in my shock, she just shrugged and didn't even have an answer. NTA, this is totally screwed up. My parents needed my room when I went away to college, so my childhood belongings, staying at home belongings, I carefully packed up in moving boxes and stored. I was warned and given the opportunity to pack my stuff away for the future. My husband also was, and moved his stuff to a rented storage unit. Your mom gave you no consideration at all.
Next story.
My wife and I have 3 kids, a 5-year-old girl, 7-year-old boy, and a 12-year-old girl. She's a stay-at-home mom, and I work as an accountant. Today, I finished work and came home at around 5. I took a shower and started dinner. My wife said that our 12-year-old won a debate competition at school and got really good grades this term. I congratulated her and told her I'd take her to buy film for her Polaroid this coming weekend. I also decided to make her favorite dinner, fried dumplings and chicken noodle soup. I also made a salad, roast turkey sandwiches, and boiled eggs. Just when we all sat down to dinner, my wife whispered to me that she didn't want the dumplings because I'd put cabbage in them. I told her no problem, and she could eat something else on the table. She said that salad wasn't her favorite either, and that the roast turkey was leftovers, so she didn't want that too. I told her that I'm not making more food and that she can make herself whatever she wants. She got up from the table in a huff and went to bed hungry. After dinner, I bathed and dressed the kids and put them to bed. Then I took some ramen and boiled eggs to our room for my wife. She refused to eat, saying that I disrespected her at the dinner table. I apologized to her and explained that I was also hungry, then that's why I didn't want to cook more food again. She got mad at me and said that I prioritize my hunger over hers and that I'm a bad husband. AITA? I didn't bathe the 12-year-old, of course, but she has ADHD, so she constantly gets distracted while doing boring things such as brushing teeth or bathing or doing homework. She randomly starts singing or dancing or counts the number of lines on the bathroom tiles, etc. So I have to keep reminding her to get on with things. My 7-year-old is disabled, so needs help moving around. My 5-year-old is too young to be alone in the bathroom. I'm scared of her falling down and hurting herself. A lot of commenters are saying that my wife should be cooking. Actually, my wife likes cooking too, but I actually had to force her to let me cook dinner every day, as that's the only meal I have with the family. I think maybe she's trying to find fault in my dinner so that she can start cooking dinner again. Laugh out loud. I don't mean this maliciously, but she really doesn't like it when other people cook at home. NTA, she is a grown woman. If she doesn't like what was being cooked, she could have said something or made something else herself. Not to mention, you were rewarding your daughter for an achievement, and your wife made it about herself. There were multiple food choices on offer, and she chose to reject all of them. Sounds like a personal problem to me. NTA, what part of M is your SAHM? You work all day, you cook dinner, you put the kids to bed. What exactly does she do? And why does she feel entitled to have you make a special dinner for her when you've done all the work and have made 4 dishes to choose from? I also feel like there's more to this story beyond I made a tremendous meal, my wife didn't want any of it, and asked me to make something else, refusing to cook for herself. After I did a whole bunch more work with the kids, I made a make-up dinner. My wife refused and claimed I'm the bad one. Husband is too perfect, or there's something OP is not telling us.